Let me tell you something most men never hear. It was never about your looks. It was never about your money. It wasn't even about your charm. It was about how you made her feel when you walked into the room without needing her approval. You see, most men are stuck in a trap. They chase. They try too hard. They overthink every text, every move, every glance, hoping, praying that maybe this time she'll notice. But let me ask you, do lions chase mice? You were not born to beg. That woman who says she's not interested. She's watching. Not your words, not your muscles. She's watching your center, your energy, your value, your certainty. You want to attract her. Good. But understand this first, women don't respond to effort. They respond to gravity. A man who knows who he is doesn't push, doesn't pull. He becomes the moment. He becomes the silence she can't ignore. And suddenly, that woman who didn't look twice, she starts asking questions. She leans in. She wonders, who is this man, and why can't I stop thinking about him? Because the truth is simple. When you stop trying to be the man she wants and start becoming the man you're meant to be, she won't just want you, she'll crave you. And today, I'm going to show you how to flip the script, not by chasing her, but by becoming the force she can't walk away from. Are you ready? Let's begin. Let's rip the Band-Aid off right now. Chasing a woman is the fastest way to lose her. It doesn't matter how much you like her. It doesn't matter how pure your intentions are. If you're constantly texting, calling, trying to make her laugh, always available, always giving, you're not building attraction, you're bleeding it dry. You're not the only one who's done this. We've all been that guy at some point. You meet a woman, you're drawn to her energy, her smile, the way she lights up a room. So you start putting in more effort. You want her to notice you try to be different. But instead of pulling her closer, she pulls away. And you're left wondering, what did I do wrong? You chased. And women don't chase men who chase them. Let that sink in. There's a psychology here. Most men never learn women are attracted to value, not validation. They're pulled toward men who have something internal that most guys don't. Centeredness, a calm power, direction, presence. When you chase her, you're saying she's the prize. You're handing her the crown and hoping she glances at you. But what if I told you the moment you stop chasing her, she starts noticing? Because chasing signals is lacking. And women don't want to fill your emptiness. They want to feel your fullness. When you're always the one reaching, texting first, double messaging, asking to hang out, waiting for her reply. You're not mysterious, you're predictable. And predictability kills the spark before it starts. The reality is, women respond to men who move like they've already got options. Not because they're players, but because they have a life, a mission, a direction. A man on his path is magnetic. He doesn't chase, he attracts. Think about it. The calm guy focused, a little hard to read. He lingers in her mind. She checks her phone, wondering if he'll text. She notices when he walks into the room because he doesn't try to be noticed. That man, he's not loud. He's not thirsty. He's not trying. And that's what makes her curious. That's what ignites attraction. So here's your first shift. Stop asking, how do I get her? Start asking, how do I become the man women are drawn to without trying? Because when you stop chasing, you give her space to pursue you. You become the mystery she wants to solve. An attraction. It stops being a struggle and starts becoming inevitable. Let me tell you something most men will never hear from their fathers, brothers, or friends. Confidence isn't loud. It's not the guy who talks the most, brags the most, or shows off. Real confidence is silent. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand attention. It commands it without a single word. Women don't fall for noise. They fall for presence. That quiet, grounded energy of a man who knows who he is without needing her approval. And if you're still thinking confidence means pretending, acting alpha, or faking it till you make it, let me stop you there, because women feel energy more than words. You can't trick her into attraction. She feels it in her gut. When a man walks into a room and isn't trying to prove a thing, when he's not calculating his every move, when he's not trying to impress, when he's just there, rooted, calm, powerful. That's the man she remembers. That's the man who haunts her thoughts at 2 a.m. when she's alone in bed wondering, why can't I stop thinking about him? It's not because he was flashy. It's because he made her feel something most men never do, the depth of a man's soul who doesn't need to be chosen, but who chooses himself. You see, when you carry silent confidence, you're telling the world, and her, I don't chase validation. I don't beg for love. I am whole already. And here's what's wild, that wholeness creates a gravitational pull. Because most women are used to being pursued by men who are starving for attention, men who rush in, talk too much, and try too hard. And suddenly she meets you. The one who doesn't bite the bait, who isn't afraid to walk away, who says more in silence than others say in paragraphs. That's rare. And women are biologically wired to notice the rare. Let me give you an example. Ever seen a lion hunt? It doesn't chase everything that moves. It watches, it waits. And when it moves with purpose, grace, power. That's the kind of presence women feel in their chest, the kind that skips the mind and speaks directly to the body. But this isn't about being a predator. This is about learning to stop performing and start being. Being the kind of man who can walk into a room and not need to prove a thing. Being the kind of man who can say no without fear, who values his peace over a temporary thrill, who chooses depth over noise, who stands firm even when the world tells him to bend. Because when you become that man, even the woman who wasn't interested starts to wonder, starts to notice, starts to feel. And here's the raw truth. She may never say it out loud, but inside she'll be asking, who is he? Why didn't he try harder? What is it about him that feels so different, so real? That's the power of silent confidence. It's not about doing more, it's about being more. There's something most men don't realize. Attraction isn't built through logic, it's built through feeling. A woman doesn't sit down and create a checklist that says 6'1", six-figure salary, perfect teeth. Okay, now I'll fall in love. No, that's not how it works. She feels something even when it doesn't make sense, especially when it doesn't make sense. And if you want to attract a woman who isn't interested, you have to stop trying to change her mind and start changing how she feels around you, because emotions always win. They override logic, they whisper in the quiet, they make her think about you when she doesn't want to. They make her wonder what it would feel like to be closer, even when she swore she never would. But here's the thing, most men trigger the wrong emotions. They trigger guilt by pressuring. They trigger discomfort by oversharing too soon. They trigger boredom by being too available, too predictable, too nice. What you need to trigger is intrigue, polarity, emotion, depth. Let me break it down. Don't give her all of you too quickly. Hold something back. Let her wonder who you are beyond the surface. Because mystery creates questions, and questions create emotional investment. When she walks away from a conversation with you, still thinking about something you said, you've already won half the battle. When you talk to her, don't try to win her over. Don't look for approval in her eyes. Instead, be rooted in yourself. Be so grounded that your energy calms her nervous system. When a woman feels safe in your presence, not because you pander to her, but because you're sure of yourself, that emotional safety is more attractive than anything physical. Have a direction in life that's bigger than impressing her. When she sees that you're driven, not to get her attention, but because you're chasing a mission, that stirs something ancient in her. Because at the end of the day, women are drawn to leaders, men who are going somewhere with or without her, men whose ambition isn't a performance, but a way of life. Sometimes attraction is born in the tension, not in a rush, not in the chase. When you can sit with her in silence, when you can hold space without needing to fill it, you become the kind of man she can't categorize. And if she can't figure you out, she starts feeling something she didn't expect: curiosity, hunger, pull. Now, here's the real truth. The woman who isn't interested isn't your enemy. She's not cold or heartless. She just hasn't felt something different yet. She's been approached by boys, not men. She's been texted by attention seekers, not purpose-driven leaders. She's been flattered, but never emotionally moved. And that's your secret weapon. You don't have to convince her. You just have to show up differently than every man who's tried before you. Be the man who sees through her armor, who doesn't flinch at her tests, who doesn't beg for a spot in her life, but becomes the kind of man she doesn't want to live without. It's not a game. It's not manipulation. It's alignment. Becoming the man you were always meant to be and letting her feel the difference. And trust me, once she feels it, she won't be able to forget you. Rejection isn't real. It only feels real because you believe it defines you. But here's what's happening when a woman says, "I'm not interested," or "I just don't feel the same way." She isn't handing you a final judgment. She's handing you a mirror, showing you something about how you show up, not who you are. That rejection, it wasn't about your soul. It wasn't about your value. It was about a moment, a version of you that didn't yet know how to carry himself like the man you're becoming. And if you believe rejection means you're not good enough, you'll spend your life avoiding risk, playing small, and letting other people's opinions define your self-worth. But if you understand that rejection is feedback, not failure, you can evolve into the kind of man women don't reject because he doesn't beg for approval in the first place. Let's go deeper. Why do women reject men? It's not just because they're not attracted. It's because of what you make her feel. Sometimes you feel too available, and she senses you have no boundaries. Sometimes you feel too insecure, and she doesn't feel emotionally safe. Sometimes you try too hard and it kills the mystery. But here's the deeper truth most never say out loud. Sometimes a woman rejects you because she doesn't believe she deserves the version of you that's coming. She sees glimpses of power, leadership, direction, but you're not fully living it yet. And rather than lean in, she walks away. Not because you're not enough, but because she fears your growth will expose where she hasn't grown yet. Crazy, right? But think about this. Have you ever pushed away a woman because you felt you weren't ready? Because deep down, you didn't want her to see you as broken or uncertain. Women feel that too. Rejection is rarely about you. It's about the reflection of her emotions in your presence. So instead of asking, why did she reject me? Start asking, what energy was I giving off when I approached her? Did I show up from a place of wholeness or need? Because women can feel that difference instantly. Neediness feels like pressure. Presence feels like peace. Here's what you have to remember. You are not rejected. You are redirected. Redirected towards self-mastery, toward emotional depth, toward the kind of confidence that doesn't chase women, but draws them in. And when you start seeing rejection as a gift instead of a curse, you become dangerous. In the best way. You stop hesitating. You stop waiting for signs or permission. You start walking into the room like a man who knows who he is, with or without her. And guess what? That energy is magnetic. Because now you're not reacting to her emotions. You're inviting her into your world. That's how attraction works. That's how you turn rejection into alignment. You stop asking, how do I make her like me? And you start asking, how do I become the kind of man she doesn't want to lose? Rejection only has power over men who don't know who they are yet. But you're becoming something else entirely. Not a man begging to be chosen, but the man who chooses himself first and watches as the world begins to notice. Let's talk about inner, not fake confidence, not flashy charisma, not putting on a show, but the kind of energy that makes a woman pause, even when she tells herself, I'm not interested. This is where the game changes. Because once you understand energy, you stop playing by the old rules. See, most men think attraction is about doing things, sending the right text, saying the perfect line, making her laugh, looking good. But those are just outer shells. They crack under pressure when the energy behind them is weak. Women feel you. Before you open your mouth, before you smile, before you even say hello, they feel what's beneath the surface. And here's the truth. You attract her not by performing for her, but by being rooted in something she can't explain. It's presence, it's certain, it's calm power. Let's get brutally honest for a second. If she's not attracted to you, it's not always because she doesn't like the way you look or the life you live. It's because your energy is chasing and her intuition runs away from desperation. So stop trying to impress her. Stop trying to earn a response. Stop trying to be the right guy and start becoming the man who can hold his ground even when she doesn't give him what he wants. That's what flips the script. Because women are not attracted to effort. They're attracted to emotion. And the deepest emotion they crave from a man is this: I want you, but I don't need you to feel complete. You want to know what shifts a woman's mind. Even when she says she's not interested, it's when she realizes your life moves forward with or without her, that you're not lingering, that you're not clinging, that you're not orbiting around her approval like a satellite around a planet. It's when she feels your emotional independence. And that's magnetic. Here's what you need to understand. Your energy speaks before your words ever do. You can say the same sentence as another man. If he says it with a grounded heart and unshakable self-image and stillness behind his eyes, she'll feel it completely differently. She won't be able to explain why she thinks about him at night. Why does she double check his social media? Why his silence makes her curious, not angry. It's because he's anchored and she feels safe in his presence, even when she doesn't admit it out loud. So, how do you become that man? You go inward. You stop seeking validation from women and start generating self-worth from your values. You stop obsessing over outcomes and start mastering your emotional state. You build habits that make you proud of yourself. You get quiet long enough to hear your inner voice, and then you live by it no matter who walks away. And over time, your energy changes. You're no longer loud with your words. You're loud with your presence. You're no longer chasing. You're creating gravity. That's when everything shifts. The same woman who once overlooked you now notices something different. She can't define it, but she feels it. That you're no longer the man hoping to be seen. You've become the man it's hard to ignore. Not because you tried harder, not because you became someone else, but because you finally became you, fully, fiercely, unapologetically. And that kind of energy, it's unforgettable. If you only remember one thing from this video, let it be this. Stop building your life around women and start building a life women want to be part of. Too many men are stuck in this trap, waiting for the text back, waiting for a sign that she likes them, waiting for some moment where the universe finally permits them to be confident. But here's the hard truth: confidence is not given, it's built. And you don't build it by waiting for approval. You build it by living a life you respect. Every single day, you have a choice. You can wake up thinking about how to impress her, or you can wake up thinking about how to impress yourself. And guess what? The moment you start focusing on yourself, she starts focusing on you. It's not magic. It's not manipulation. It's magnetism. Because there's something undeniably attractive about a man who doesn't orbit around women, but around his purpose. So what does that look like? It looks like a man who doesn't text her all day because he's busy building something. It looks like a man who doesn't ask, "Why won't she like me?" but instead asks, "What kind of man do I want to become?" It looks like a man who walks into the gym, the office, the studio, or the world with the quiet, unshakable energy of someone who's not trying to be seen, but is impossible to ignore. And here's the beautiful part: when you become that man, you won't have to convince anyone to stay. You'll attract people who see your value. And those who don't, you'll finally be strong enough to let them walk away. That's the difference between a man who chases love and a man who commands it. Women are watching. Even when they say they're not interested, they notice the man who moves with intention. The one who's not in a hurry to get noticed because he knows exactly who he is without their validation. That's rare. That's powerful. That's attractive. Let me ask you this. What would your life look like if you stopped seeking love and started becoming love? What if you stopped trying to win her heart and started building a life so fulfilling, so meaningful that love becomes a bonus, not a requirement? That's when she chases you. Not because you tried to win her, but because you stopped trying to prove anything and just became everything. The kind of man who turns heads without needing to. The kind of man who holds eye contact and doesn't flinch. The kind of man who makes her rethink her own new system, not because he said anything profound, but because he lives with such clarity, she can't help but feel drawn to his world. And if she's still not interested, it won't break you. Because you'll know her attention was never the source of your value. You are. So take this with you. You don't need a woman to like you to become valuable. But the moment you become valuable to yourself, the whole world starts noticing, including the women who once didn't. So now you know. Attraction isn't about chasing her, begging for her time, or molding yourself into the man you think she wants. It's about becoming the man you were always meant to be. The man who doesn't just get the girl, but who doesn't lose himself trying to. You see, most men live in fear of rejection, fear of being alone, fear that they're not enough. But the truth is, the moment you let go of that fear, you unlock something no one can take from you: power, peace, presence. And that's what women are truly drawn to. Not the man who needs them to feel whole, but the man who is already whole and simply invites them along for the ride. Let this video be more than just advice. Let it be your turning point. Don't go back to begging for attention. Don't fall into old patterns of proving your worth. Instead, build it, own it, live it. And when she looks at you, even if she once said she wasn't interested, she'll feel something shift. She'll feel your energy, your depth, your strength. And she'll know this man is different. Because he didn't just try to attract her, he became the kind of man she never thought she could lose. Now the question is, will you? Will you step into that version of yourself today? Because the moment you do, you won't just attract her, you'll attract everything you once thought was out of reach. This isn't the end of the video. This is the beginning of your new story. Now go write it.